Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome. This is your girl, Charlotte, and I'm decided I'm going to do a video every day. And so I'm going to talk about something. I don't know what, but, and today I decided that, well, what I have decided is that on Saturdays, I'm going to talk a little bit about sales. And so for my first, podcast, videocast, vlog, whatever you want to call it, today's, presentation is about how to increase sales by understanding the customer type. I think a lot of times when people think about sales, what they don't realize is that when you're selling something, and this is really geared towards service-based businesses, but this really is applicable to anybody in any business. But what I wanted to say is that a lot of times when we think about our sales, I'll talk a little bit about sales strategy and how to sell something, but what might be helpful for people is to understand that when you're selling something, you're selling it to an individual, and that every individual has, for the most part, a kind of primary personality type. And so that's what I mean by customer type. I don't mean, a lot of times people talk about customer type and they talk about, well, the prospect, if it's a warm lead, or if the person is interested, or if the person is not interested, is the person like a compulsive buyer. I don't mean, when you think about customer type, I'm not talking about those kinds of characterizations. I'm really talking about kind of the heart of their personality, how they interact in the world, and how they're going to connect with you as an entrepreneur. And so, first of all, I want you to know that, look, everyone isn't your customer. And guess what? That's a good thing. And trust me, when I start to talk to you about all these four different types of customers, there are going to be times when you realize, I don't want everybody to be my customer. And Lord knows I have stumbled upon people who are great, but in terms of me wanting them to be my customer, I had to think about that kind of thing. And then the other thing is that some people just don't want to work with you. And that has to do with energy, vibe, instinct, just like you don't relate to them the way they want to be related to. And all kind of different things. And guess what? That's cool too. My thing is that if you don't want to work with me, let me know. And then let me move on to somebody who does want to work with me. And then the other thing is that you don't want to work with everybody either. There are times when I'm doing consultations and I'm considering taking on new one-on-one clients, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, sometimes within the first 5-10 minutes, I know, I don't know if this is a match. And I get really concerned, and I'm always trying to think about, how do I kind of backpedal and possibly get out of this potential working relationship? And so just know that not everybody wants to work with you, and you don't want to work with everybody, but the bottom line is that everybody is not your customer anyway. So when you're developing your sales strategy, I think it's important to understand the customer types, because I think it'll help you understand the customer types will help you understand how you're going to communicate with them and how you're going to connect with them. And then also really if you're going to choose to work with them. I think we always think when we're selling things that, oh my God, I want them to pick me. I want them to pick me. But remember that when you're selling something to somebody, it really is a partnership, right? They're picking you, but you're also picking them. And so remember that part of the power, you hold part of the power because you get to pick as well. You don't have to just service everybody. Because everybody's not worthy of your time. You don't connect well with everybody. And quite honestly, if you've done your homework in terms of understanding the ideal customer, then you will know that sometimes there are people, you'll come across people that, are not your ideal customer. And therefore, my thing is that don't fret. Just let them move on to another entrepreneur that's more in sync and more in alignment with who they are. Before I get into that, I want to just spend a moment talking about some of the mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs when we're undergoing our sales process and dealing with different customer types. And the first one I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about these mistakes because when we get ready to talk about each of the customer types, you'll see how these mistakes either kind of perpetuate why you can't connect with that customer, and show you definitively why that becomes an issue for that particular customer based on their type. So that's the reason why I'm going to talk about some of these mistakes. The first one I'm going to talk about is this. When it comes to working with customers, you can't control the conversation. And I know a lot of people feel like, oh, well, some of the best salespeople, they totally talk the whole thing and they talk you through it and they talk you into it. And in some respects, there are salespeople that do that. And there are some customer types that want salespeople to do that. But if you are a good entrepreneur and you are really committed to the customer and not just to the sales, you don't want to control the conversation. Now, you want to direct the conversation and you want to plan the conversation. You want to outline. You want to know what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next. But in terms of controlling it, you really don't want to be someone who needs to control everything that is said and cut people off when you think they're saying something that you don't want to hear, but being open to allowing there to be space for things to flow between you and a customer, but then also just being gentle about redirecting. So don't feel like you need to control. And the second thing, the reason why I brought this up is because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs just don't listen. You need to listen to your customers. Oh my goodness. Because a lot of times they will tell you everything that you need to know, and then you can really basically regurgitate that back to them. And then they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought, or that's exactly what I want. And they've made your job easier. But more importantly, by kind of like restating a lot of times the things that they say, you can say, look, this is what I do for you, and this is what it sounds like that you're looking for. And so you can easily make connections with people by listening and then kind of restating what they said before. So don't feel this need to control the conversation. Number 2, a lot of times when we're doing our sales and we're working on consultations and we're trying to get clients, is that we get so caught up in the sale and not getting to know the customer. And that's why I'm talking about the customer types today, because look, yeah, you want to make that money, and we all do. However, I'm telling you right now, once you get to understand the customer type, you really are empowered to pick and choose what customers you want. And I'm going to tell you, if you stumble upon a customer, and you will stumble on customers that you really probably are not in alignment with you, the kind of customers that are going to suck the energy out of you, the kind of customers that you really are not going to like working with, you're going to want to know that quickly, and you're going to want to move them out the way so you can move in customers that you do want to work with, that are in alignment with you, and that you do feel good about working with. So it's important not to be so invested in the sale, because you might end up selling something to a customer that you may not want to be working with over the long haul. So remember to kind of get to know the customer, at least get to know enough about them to figure out, is this really a match? Remember, you are empowered to pick just as much as they are empowered to pick you. Number 3, a lot of times as salespeople, we have a tendency to focus on, what it is we do outstanding, what our strengths are, what makes us the best pick in town. And look, I'll be the first to admit, yes, that's important. Yes, you always want to, and first impressions are to let people know what it is you do good and what you do well. However, it is okay to sometimes sneak in and to interweave some of the things that you don't do well. And I say that is important to do because then you kind of define expectations in a way that your customer can understand. So for me, when I do my one-on-one business consulting, you're not going to talk to me all week long. You're going to talk to me. We're going to do a check-in once a week, and then we're going to have actual call once a week. But in terms of you being able to email me every day, and I don't have the capacity to do that based on my clientele. So if you're the kind of one-on-one person who needs coaching or consulting, where you can check in with the person every day, then that's not me. I recommend that you find somebody else, because I don't really have the capacity really to do that, nor do I have the time. And secondly, I just find that checking in every day with people is not really productive, because you're spending more time checking in than allowing people to actually engage in action. So again, I say all this to say that, it's okay to admit, some of the things that maybe you might feel are shortcomings, but let a customer know, so that if they need that, or if that's an expectation of yours, they can know right away that they're not going to get that from you. And also, again, if that's something that they expect, then allow them to walk away and go find somebody else who will give that to them. And again, you want these kind of things to happen early in your interaction, so that they can move out the way, and then more ideal customers can move to the fore, and you can start connecting with them. Number 4 is remember that selling is a process. And you got to give it time. For some customers, and we'll talk about this with some of the customer types, it's going to take a hot minute before you are able to sell them on your services. And that's okay. I mean, some people need time to make decisions. Now, I'm the kind of person where there are times when I make a decision quick, and there are other times when I wait it out. So, and that's going to be the same for your ideal clients and customers. Some of them are going to come real quick and some are not going to come so quick. And remember that it's just a process, right? For me, I do the one-on-one. I give you 45 minutes free of my time. And then after that, if you want to work with me, then you'll go through the process and you'll pay me and we'll work together. If not, you'll think about it and then maybe you'll come back to me. Or maybe you'll think about it and you don't come back to me. Either way is okay. And again, it's just empowering you, people. Don't feel like because somebody doesn't want to work with you that somehow something's wrong. It's really just moving them out of the way so that people that do want to work with you can move in. And then finally, one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs do is that they talk a mean game. They talk about what it is they can do, how they're going to do, and the results, and everything like that, and then they don't deliver. My thing is this. I need to say this, y'all. Really, when it comes to delivery, you got to over deliver. Really, you say X, Y, and Z to your client, customer in the contract and in your consultation talks, but you got to, in some respects, deliver at least at the level that you said you would, and then over deliver. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. Kind of delivery for me. I hire people and my thing is this: I want you at minimum do what you said you would do. If you do a little extra, that's really nice and I appreciate it. But at least minimally do what you said you were going to do because that's why I hired you. But more importantly, I want to feel as if I'm working with people that care about the work that they do. Care enough that it's quality, care enough that as a customer I'm satisfied. And so really delivery is really important to me. I'll give you a perfect example. I was working with a program. They teach you, I just don't want to give too many specifics because I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but I paid for, a workshop, whatever it was, and they were going to train me on how to do this. And, on the first day, I'm going to say this, they were like, oh, we're going to give you handouts and an agenda. And on the first day, we got no handouts and agenda. And then on the second day, they were like, yeah, we're going to give you handouts and agendas. And then they gave me handouts and agenda, but they were like, it was like, oh, they said that the ink ran out in the copy machine. And so they were very poor quality. You couldn't even read them. And, it was, and then it was like one thing after another with this particular setting. And I found that, this is what I mean by delivery. Like if you're going to have a workshop, you're going to have handouts, make sure that you have them printed up, make sure that the agenda is there, make sure that everybody has a copy, make sure the copies are high quality. Like for me, why would you want to deliver anything less than stellar to your customers? I mean, how am I supposed to refer you on to the next person when you can't even deliver to me? So being somebody who delivers is really important. And I tell people I need to do a whole no lie. I will be on one of these Sales Saturday calls talking about quality and delivery, because I think a lot of people have gotten to the point where they think they can kind of be half-assed. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You can be that if you want to, but trust that your customer, they may not say nothing to you, but they're noticing. And they're noticing by not coming back to you. They're noticing by not giving you any referrals or word of mouth. And that hurts your business more than anything.